it's 3, so I'll start. I have a, again, quick presentation. I'm going to talk about Rails and just an overview and how to build your Rails app. So what is Rails? They usually call it Ruby on Rails, but it's like Rails is on Ruby, right? And Rails is just a framework. And what is Rails? It's a server-side web application framework written in Ruby. It uses the MVC, meaning it has a model view controller. It emphasizes a bunch of things, but one of the notable ones would be convention over configuration, meaning giving the developers the default and they can easily build up their apps. But customizing might be a bit harder compared to other frameworks or languages. Why is that? Because it's like when you have Rails, it's like you already have something out of the box that you can just install and easily have frame like a skeleton, and you can just put stuff there and create your tables, create your CRUD operations very easily. Do I like it that way? As a beginner, I did like it because it's easy. Even the syntax is easier to understand because when you start with JavaScript or Node.js, for me, just in my experience, I find it very technical, convoluted, hard to understand. The way Ruby, because Ruby syntax is like Python too, and Rails, it's easy to understand, and you'll see. Oh yes, definitely. For now, maybe as I grow as a developer and I need to do more stuff and add more stuff, and I felt like it would impede on my customizations. That's what I think. And dry, don't repeat yourself. That's across the board in every code application you have. So just a basic overview on how the Rails architecture looks like. And you can see the MVC there. And before the MVC, you would have this routing. So when someone requests make a request, and let's say it does a slash, let's say post, it will go to the routing and check, and it will pass to the controller and check what is the specific URL and what do I need to do with it. And now the controller would now communicate with the model, and then the model would now communicate with the database to grab some data, and then now put it back to the controller, and the controller would be the one to put it on the view. So the view would now be rendered on the client, which is the web server. Basic MVC structure. Okay, so one of the pain points for Rails is they're saying it's not good when it scales. Like there are like Twitter and Airbnb, GitHub, they use Rails, but somehow when they try to scale, they try to lessen the usage of Rails because they're having a hard time. And I have to investigate more on that, but now we're on Rails 5.2. The future of Rails, they're trying to make it more scalable, faster in testing, less blocking, easier for multiple databases and such. So I would go ahead and do the demo, and this would be just a recap. And I plan to be a terminal warrior. So let's make this bigger. More bigger, way bigger. So right now, I'm on my user folder. I go ahead and go to my preferred folder where I put my projects. I put it in my Rails projects. And now I would need to create a Rails app. So one of the requirements is you need to install Ruby and install Rails on your local machine. And after that, you would be ready to go. So to simply create a Rails app, you would do Rails new, and then your app name, my blog, and then we're gonna use database as PostgreSQL. Okay, and when I enter that, it will create a bunch of files. And I have my Rails app. Yes, not yet. So because I didn't use the default, which is SQLite. SQLite is usually good for um, small web apps, I think. And with PostgreSQL, it's a web server like MySQL. So one of the things I need to do, because I did not use the default, is change the configuration. So we should do nano config database. Oh wait, thing that I forgot is you should navigate to your project. And then now I can do this again, nano config database YAML. And now I can scroll down, configure this to have username, Postgre, to the S, and password, not very secure, and then local to localhost. Yeah, it's gonna be very easy. I'll show you. And then this is an extra step for your production. Just need to comment this out because usually you would use a different platform for this. So just comment this out and that's it. Now you just have to save it. And to save it is Control X, I believe. Yes. Enter. Now I've configured my database. Next thing is I need to create the database. So just Rails DB create. Okay. And now I have some problems. Yep. Let me see. Yep. Let me see. I had a typo here. Yes. Username, Postgres, password, localhost. Should be working. Yeah, let me try to add that. Maybe that's what I missed. Okay. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. See. Now I messed something up. Okay, let me go back. Let me have my cheat sheet here. Forgot. Postgres, password, host. Do that again. Let's try that again. Hopefully it works this time. Please work. No, it's not working. Shit. Oh, that's all right. Sorry. Uh-huh. Yeah. I need to put this very small again. Tab character. Now I have to go here. So thing is with YAML files, they're pretty type sensitive. So I think I added a space a while ago. That's the problem. I can't even see the space. Yep. Yeah. So that was my plan too, to just be on the terminal and be a keyboard warrior. But it seems like it was not helping. So let me do it here so I can view it better. There you go. So it's just a tab. Okay, so moving on. So now what Sam told us, there's scaffolding, right? So we can easily do a scaffold. And now I would create a model called a post. And I would add some columns, title string, and another one, body, text. So this will generate like the basic CRUD operations for me to execute. Still the same. You have to look deeper. There's the files generated. You can see the model you control. Yep. Okay. CD app. Then let's controllers. View. Yep. They are using model. If you are not using this architecture, they will get the So hang on, because again, I want to be a keyboard warrior, but I'll show you the browser later. So next, I would need to now, I created this, when I created the scaffold, I also created a migration file. A migration file for Rails is just an instruction for them to execute to add it to the schema, okay? So now I should use concatenate to view that. And then now, that's how it looks like right now. So it's like, hey, when I execute this migration, please add this columns, title, and body. Okay, so now we need to do this db migrate. And then it's executed. And then now we can check now the schema and how it looks like. Now it's in the schema. Okay, great. So now what we can do is use the Rails console to do some CRUD operations. So first things first, we want to do create, right? And now we have the post model. Now we can call that post and do create and easily add this title, SSCRG, and then comma, body, let's say first new. And you would see the SQL statement it will create. Okay, let's add another one. Okay, so that's our create. And the next is read, right? We want to read. We can check for all of them. Instead of doing the select post from whatever, we can just do post.all, and we can see everything. We can also check for a certain number, ID number, easily. Okay, if you want to update something, it's as simple as post update your preferred, let's say the title, you just want to change the title, and Enactus, let's say CDU. That should be fine. Oops, wrong number of arguments. Update, oh, okay. It doesn't like one parameter, let's see. Okay, I know what's wrong. So I need to first get this, sorry. And then update. Say Nexus CU. There you go. Now it's updated. So we've done our create, read, update, and now let's try a delete. You can do this with post.find to delete. And to confirm that we don't have it, post all, and we just only have one. So that's all for the terminal, and we'll go to the browser now. Okay. To serve this on the browser, just do Rails server. And it loads up. Okay. And now we should be able to see it here. That's the landing page. And we go to the post. And we now have a basic view. And you can create now here. Say, let's try to create that same thing. Fork meeting. Create a post. There you go. You can edit that. Date post, back. I can also show, back, and destroy. So there you go. That's your Rails app. So what we basically did is, again, create a project, configure our database, created the database with dbcreate, created the scaffold, executed the migration file, did some CRUD operations using the Rails console. This one, create, read, update, delete. And then when you type Rails routes, actually, you would see the URL for specific actions that you have on your controller. And that's it. All right. Any questions?
Why do we have to learn this language?
So if you're a budding new developer and you're having a hard time following all this super hard documentation as a beginner, with Rails, you can easily spin up your web app and have it running and do the simple CRUD operations, because Rails make it easy to also with the active record. So basically everything is an object for their schema. So right now you can just use their API to do these CRUD operations very easily instead of using the SQL statements. And again, with the scaffolding.
The other one, big difference.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Java, C, C++, we learn the language approach, right? This one, language is very big.
Correct.
Instead of learn culture. Culture is a very important framework or architectural pattern. There are many concepts. Learn that one too. Because of that, you can have a productivity, negative side.
Mm-hmm.
We have this company, not many companies, relatively. Second, a lot of teachers suffer.
Yep.
Yep. It becomes about hiring somebody.
But again, what's great with the Rails community is because Rails has been here longer than Node.js. So you would have more experienced Rails developer. I don't know how they work though, if they're kind or not. I suppose they're kind. Okay. So that's it. Not now. So because of scaling, usually they try to like minimize the usage of Rails or literally like make it go away. Mm-hmm. So as Kevin said, it's hard to scale with Rails because of the multiple processes. Yep. So as with our previous speaker, they were using Rails actually. And what he does is if there's like a big usage of like hits to the database or whatever functions they need, that's the time they put it in the cloud service. But still, their core app is still in Rails. Okay. Terminal? Me too, I love Terminal. $1? Good question. I don't know. I will research.
That's a primary key. They never did have that data. They are using all